So then I moved and sat next to that other lady, but she was a bit smelly, so I think we should just stop catching the bus altogether.
Okay. What's going on?
It's locked, I can't get in.
We built this city.
Is that Darren?
We built this city. You shall not pass.
Darren, open up! The show's on air. We've got games to review.
Negative. I'm in the process of delicate construction.
Oh, building what?
A mystery dungeon for our Pokemon review.
Darren, this time you've gone too far. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Kerry.
Oh, he knows. This is a fully sanctioned project. Just carry on without me. I'll inform you when construction's complete.
Well, I better go read the news.
What am I going to do?
You'll have to come with me.
We built this city.
Right, Hex here with all the news
from around the world. Bajo here as well. Researchers at the university. Oh, sorry. Hex. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go.
Okay. Researchers at the University of Western Australia have found that exergaming, for example playing Kinect Sports, is good exercise for kids. The study, carried out in conjunction with the Australian Research Institute for Sport and Exercise Sciences, compared the effectiveness of high-intensity and low-intensity exergaming with traditional exercise, such as running on a treadmill.
In the study, 15 children aged between 9 and 11 played sessions of 200-metre hurdles and 10-pin bowling from Kinect Sports. The researchers concluded that moderate-intensity exergaming activities, like the hurdles, were good for improving health. You could say, Hex, that obesity struck out and they jumped the hurdle to healthy health.
Yes, you could. A son and dad team have created what is perhaps the ultimate home arcade. Reddit user Mertzluft shared several photos of the arcade, which has been in the works for over 5 years.
Purchased at bargain prices, most of the arcade machines were apparently not in working order and needed to be repaired manually. Oh, so jealous!
All right, pass me the phone.
Emergency phone.
Hello, Darren speaking.
Oh, hi, Darren.
Hi, Darren.
We've finished the news, so just letting you know we're on our way back to the Den of Gaming, so
Yes.
better be ready.
Yes, open the doors, Darren.
Negative.
What?
What?
I've prepared an alternative review studio. I'll send the coordinates to your phone. Mustache.
Alternative review studio. I can't work like this. I mean, I really can't work like this. Where do we have to go? What are the coordinates?
Hey, Goose.
Hey, guys.
Wait a minute. Goose? Well, this isn't a studio. This is just the office.
You're right, Hex, and what are these?
Oh, I made them with the skills I learnt playing Paper Titans. It's a new smartphone puzzle that has some pretty tricky mazes to navigate. Everything in it is designed around a folded paper style. Plus, the game shows you how to make real cutouts of its characters.
The game's levels are set on paper islands, each with 3 stars that are tucked away in tricky spots. To collect them, you'll need to use all the unique skills of your paper heroes. Firstly, there's the collector. It's his job to pick up each star, but of course getting him there isn't as easy as it looks on paper. If the star is on a higher platform, you can use the thrower to catapult him up to it. And if some demolition is needed, it's time to bring in the exploder.
Yes, but the one I liked the best had to be the flyer. I love jetpacks. Once you have the basics down, Paper Titans will challenge you in a few ways. First of all, you can't just walk off ledges. The only way down is diving off these springboards. And there are many platforms without springboards, so you'll need to think carefully about which characters you throw up first, in case you end up getting them stranded.
The game does troll you though with things like unnecessary obstacles. You only have a limited number of characters on each level, so using exploders to blow up the first wall you bump into can make it impossible to get to essential sections later on.
Yeah, I found the best strategy was to work backwards from each star's location. That way I could figure out in which order I needed to go to the various platforms without getting stuck.
I was impressed with the characters' pathfinding. Once you drag the cursor to the destination, they just get there by themselves.
True, but I did find the control suffered a little bit when all the characters are clumped together. It can be very easy to fumble and select the wrong one, but that's such a minor gripe, really. This game has so much personality. What are you giving it?
Well, I love the puzzles. I think they get nice and complicated later on, and I also love the look of this game, so I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, I loved it too, and I think it's a great touch that you can go to the website and download plans for all the little characters so you can make your own. I'm giving it 8.5.
Right, now let's see what that robot's up to.
Oh, guys, before you rush off, do you want to see my latest postcard to the Pokemon hometowns?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Goose. Are you ready for another adventure?
I am, Darren, but I can tell where we're going already, so just give me a second. All right.
Careful with... watch it.
Ta-da! What do you think, Darren?
Excellent choice, Goose. Off we go. Pika, pika. Choo.
No, Darren, wait! Come back! Oh, now I'm gonna have to go and catch him. Every time you start a new Pokemon adventure, you're thrown into a similar ritual. You choose your name, your rival's name, and then you're dropped into your hometown. The original Pallet Town in Red and Blue was monotone and sparse. You had your house, your rival's house, and a few townsfolk. The most important part of the Pokemon hometown was usually the professor's lab. After all, you can't start your epic journey without a starter Pokemon, and this was the place where you got to pick your first one. Or be given one by the professor. Thanks, Professor. All right.
Pika, pika.
Ah, Darren, there you are. Glad you didn't get lost in any of that tall grass around town.
Pika, Pee. The lab is also where your rival in town picks his Pokemon. Annoyingly, your clever counterpart always chooses the one with an attack that's super effective against your Pokemon.
Yes, but then there's all the excitement and anticipation as you get ready for your very first battle. Darren, I choose you.
Oh, Pika, Pee.
Great work, Darren.
Pika, he was no match for me, Goose. Although lacking heroic battles, a gym, or a Pokemon Center, the hometown does equip you with some handy-dandy starting items, like the town map and a Pokédex.
Yes, but Darren, I always liked the way that you could talk to the citizens and learn a few things.
Indeed. And don't forget that in the later generations, you could customize your abode with Pokemon dolls, game systems, and carpets. And with each new gen game, the consoles in your bedroom would also update, from SNES to GameCube to Wii.
Everything about the Pokemon hometown was reassuring, from that lovely nostalgic music to those really awesome encouragements from Mum. Thanks, Mum.
It's where you start and end every Pokemon adventure, and it's the perfect place to just relax and take in the wonderful world around you. All right, Goose, back to the studio.
Oh, no, Darren, I've still got a few more Pokemon to catch in this area, and then I've got to take on the gym leader. Think about it.
Pika-Pee!
No, Darren, come back! Oh, I'm gonna catch him again. Darren!
Pokemon hometowns, where life's a ball.
You know, that was my Pikachu onesie that Darren was wearing, and I hope he hasn't stretched it because his body is a lot squarer than mine.
It is. You should get that cleaned as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we should start off with some questions, and this one, well, it's more of an answer than a question, really. It's from Zugu40, who is in Hervey Bay, Queensland. Harvey?
It's
Herbie.
Ask Good Game, not Answer Good Game.
Spelt Hervey.
Breaking the rules. Hey guys, I noticed you were having problems with people spawning on your MC world. People spawn everywhere because spawning is player specific. And when you log on, you are on your accounts as opposed to people on theirs. As it's the first time they've spawned in the world, they're at the default spawn. I hope this helped. Zugu40. Oh, well that makes a lot of sense then. So for anyone who's been spawning in a weird place on our Minecraft world, then that's what's happening.
So that should mean they're spawning around here, which may explain those who say they were spawning in a hole in the ground. But I'm still confused as to why some people would say that they're spawning in forests or deserts.
Yes, I think that may have to remain a mystery for now, Hex.
All right, well, thanks for at least partially explaining that one, Zugu. Let's move on to this one from Gabe in Darrenville, which is also in Queensland.
Where was Gabe from?
At Darrenville.
That doesn't sound like a fun place.
Hey, good game. I just got FLT on my laptop and I was wondering if you could help me. I always seem to die really early on because of fires and my oxygen running out. Can you help? P.S. Darren is not a noob, he is the best player in the world. People only say he is a noob because they are jealous. P.P.S. Bajo, do these. Thanks guys, you rock. Well, we can definitely help you out a little bit there, Gabe. So, as you've experienced, fires in your ship can rapidly lead to total disaster if you're not prepared and don't deal with them quickly.
Yeah, the most effective way to minimize fire damage is by simply upgrading your doors. If you don't, then fire can spread from room to room in no time. Upgrading your doors by even just one level will dramatically slow the fire down.
And then you've of course got two options for actually fighting the fire. First of all, you can simply send a crew into the room and they'll automatically start fighting it. There is a risk though, since your crew will take damage from the fire, so make sure you get them out before they get seriously injured.
Yeah. The other option is somewhat safer. Fires need oxygen to burn, so you can simply open your airlocks and doors. That will suck all the oxygen out of the room though, but it will also put the fire out. Just make sure to close the doors once the fire is completely gone.
Yep.
Now, the Can't be Darren, he's really busy building the things. Hello, Bajo speaking.
The oxygen would actually be blown out, Bajo.
That doesn't make any sense, Darren.
Well, you said the oxygen would be sucked out.
Yeah.
But in the vacuum of space, your cabin is pressurized, and when you open the doors, the pressure inside the ship forces the oxygen out. So it is technically blown out, not sucked. It's a common mistake. Now, you must excuse me, I'm very busy and I haven't got time for this. I've got to put the finishing touches on my mystery dungeon.
Yeah, Darren, I hope there's enough room in there for us to...
Got time to call us and interrupt us. Gabe, of course, that leads to your next problem, which is losing oxygen. Again, the best way to deal with that is to simply upgrade your oxygen system. If you upgrade it just one level, then you can replenish oxygen supplies much quicker. And a fully upgraded system can even maintain oxygen in a room even when there is a hull breach.
And of course, make sure to quickly repair your oxygen system if it gets damaged.
Yeah.
Hopefully those tips will help you out. So moving on to this one from, we've got this one from Jamie, who is in Green Ponnet in New South Wales.
Is that like a ponnet? Like a ponnet of yogurt?
It's not spelt like that, but let's go with that.
I want some yogurt.
How do you get money in Need for Speed Most Wanted? Well, Jamie, the short answer is you don't, because there is actually nothing you can buy in Most Wanted. The only real currency in the game is speed points, and when you earn enough of them, you can challenge the next Most Wanted racer. Once you beat them and then hunt them down, you'll get access to their car.
Yes, but if you want any other new car, then you just need to find it lying about the world. As soon as you find it, it's yours for free, which is one of the best things about that game. And I don't know any other racer that does that, actually. And if you want to install mods on it, then you just have to win races in the car you want to mod.
Well, speaking of Most Wanted, let's go to this one now from Samuel, who is in Need for Speed Town in Victoria.
They live a pretty fast-paced lifestyle there.
I imagine they would.
Because they have the need.
For speed.
The need for speed. Hi, I really need your help in Need for Speed Most Wanted. I cannot find the Lamborghini Roadster in the game. Please, please. P.S. Will you review Euro Truck Simulator 2? Well, Samuel, there's no car called the Lamborghini Roadster, but there's the Lamborghini Gallardo, which you can find here. And we have actually already reviewed Euro Truck Simulator 2, which you can watch on our website in the game reviews section.
All right, well, seeing as we're looking at a new Pokemon game, then I think we should go with this question, which is from Jazzstone5, great name, who is under the desert sands in South Australia.
I was in a jazz band once. Have I ever told you about it?
Yes.
Have I? We were called the Jazz.
Well, you were called the Jazzettes.
Yeah, this was my first band. This was more of a
had
spin-off.
multiple jazz
It's a bit
bands?
more experimental. We didn't use jazz instruments. You know what we used?
What?
We used sandwiches. And we played them like they were instruments.
What kind of sound does a sandwich
We got
make?
really overweight.
Hey GGSP, I was just wondering how the Pokemon universe began. I love the games and have been playing them for ages, but I would like to know how it all kicked off. Cheers, Jazzstone5.
Well, Jazzstone 5, the entire Pokemon franchise was actually based on the original 1996 Game Boy games, Pocket Monsters Red and Green, which were released only in Japan. And the inspiration for it came from insect collecting, apparently.
After those games proved extremely popular, they were remade and slightly enhanced as Pokemon Red and Blue for the international release a few years later.
Yeah, and of course, since then, it's gone on to spawn anime and manga and movies and card games and even more games. And it's actually now the second biggest franchise based on video games in the world, behind only Nintendo's mascot, the big man Mario.
Well, there you go, Jazz Stone 5. They certainly hitting a winner with that one. But let's move on to this one from Jules, who is in Sydney, New South Wales.
How do you beat the Destroyer in Terraria? Because am having a lot of trouble trying to defeat it. Thanks. Yes, the Destroyer. Cousin to the Eater of Worlds, this hard mode boss is a laser blasting steel worm and is much tougher than its squishy relative.
Yeah, unlike the Eater of Worlds, the Destroyer has just a single health bar with a whopping 80,000 hit points. And unlike the Eater of Worlds, he doesn't break into separate, more manageable pieces when it takes damage. It even launches probes which buzz around firing their own lasers at you. D.A.R.R.E.N. would be impressed.
Indeed. So because of his huge amount of health, this fight is mega hard. So make sure you're prepared. Equip yourself with a hard-hitting weapon, preferably something with piercing damage, some decent body armor as well, and plenty of health and buff potions. At the very least, I'd recommend using Iron Skin and regeneration potions in this particular fight.
Like with all Terraria bosses, it's important to organise your terrain before the fight begins. If you use ranged weapons, the best course of action is to create a long, even surface with plenty of space to run around and dodge attacks. Melee fighters are better off keeping the fight contained to a smaller area, building a walled-off zone with plenty of height and wooden platforms that gives the player lots of free movement and keeps out unwanted guests like zombies.
It also takes advantage of one of the Destroyer's biggest weaknesses. Because it's a worm-type enemy, it needs blocks in order to move. It can propel itself out from the earth, but will fall back to the surface without reaching any great height.
Now that you're prepared, it's time to summon the boss with your mechanical worm. Remember that this only works at night, and you must kill the Destroyer before sunrise, or it will despawn and you'll have to craft another mechanical worm and start the whole process again, which we had to do many times. And look, I think we should probably own up to this one. We couldn't actually beat him. That's not to say we won't. We just haven't yet.
Hex, don't tell the spawnlings we haven't beaten yet. Ex-nay on the Uvne, which is pig Latin for saying, we don't know, don't tell them we're noobs. We might never be able to beat him.
I think I'm pretty sure we're gonna beat him. I'm pretty confident in my ability as a gamer. So, you know, I've beaten Ganon as Link. I've slain the Ender Dragon. But yeah, the Destroyer is a really tough adversary. Be prepared to die a lot. And we'd suggest maybe getting a few friends into your game to help you out if possible. So good luck, Jules.
Yeah. Oh, it's the phone!
It's ready!
Hello, Banjo speaking. Oh, it's ready!
It's ready! My mystery dungeon!
The
It's
dungeon's ready,
complete.
Hex, let's go!
Okay, if you've got a question you'd like to send it in here.
To the dungeon!
Finally.
This better be worth it.
Yeah. Oh,
Darren, what have you done to our wonderful studio? What's this?
Yeah, what happened to all our space and our shelves with our precious toys and everything? Even your D.A.R.R.E.N. cave is gone.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Well, welcome to my mystery pokey dungeon.
Well, in my opinion, Darren, it's a little less mystery pokey dungeon and a bit more room with blank curtains hung up.
Well, the dungeon in the game isn't much more than this either, Barjo. It's even more sparse and cave-like. So I think this construction is completely and utterly true to the game.
Yes. All right, well, let's just get on with the review. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity is a strange beast within the world of Pokemon. Rather than being a sequel to the main RPGs, this game is primarily about dungeon exploration. Mystery Dungeon is also what's called a roguelike.
Affirmative. Roguelikes are a subgenre of RPGs where the focus is on randomly generated enemy encounters and turn-based combat. FTL, Faster Than Light, which we reviewed on the show last year, is a perfect example of the genre. Most roguelikes feature permadeath, but Mystery Dungeon is a bit of a lightweight roguelike, so the game doesn't end if you die.
Thanks, Darren. At the start of the game, you'll find yourself hurtling through the sky as a human trapped in a Pokemon's body. It then drops you into a world without humans. It's here that you'll meet a fellow Pokemon and decide to team up and build paradise together.
Yes, and you also keep seeing a dream of Muna calling for help, but you spend most of your time doing small quests.
The quests in this game involve traveling through a mystery dungeon with the goal of defeating a boss or discovering a rare item. On each floor of these randomly generated dungeons, you'll find Pokemon to battle and items to collect. The usual type of battle advantage is at present, so electric attacks are still super effective against flying Pokemon.
I struggle with this game a bit, guys, because I love permadeath. It works so well in roguelike games. You lose everything when you die, so you make every decision really count. It's a super stressful situation, and none of that is here because you don't lose everything when you die here.
Affirmative. You only lose a few items if you die, and you keep all your progress, making your next run even easier. And instead of a hunger meter that depletes the longer you stay in a dungeon, your power points for each move decreases. But you later get the ability to level up your moves, increasing the power points as well.
Yeah, and when you combine that with the number of power points constantly replenishing items in dungeons, I never really felt like I was in danger. There was not one moment in this game where I turned back because I thought, I'm not going to make it. It's like they've taken all the elements of a roguelike dungeon crawler and then made it so accessible that the game just isn't challenging anymore. But dungeons are only one part of the game. What did you think about rebuilding paradise?
I actually found that quite enjoyable. Going on quests to get items is strangely compelling.
Affirmative. I chose the electric dojo to level up my Pikachu's skills.
Oh, I made an ore and berry field.
Yeah, without this, I don't think I could have gone through those dungeons over and over. They're just so samey. And those corridors between rooms annoyed me so much, Badge. The level design is so dull. Just let me walk straight. Plus, sometimes you spawn right next to the stairs to the next floor.
And I know we sound like we're complaining a lot, but I think there's a fair bit to complain about here. Such as, why is there so much dialogue? There's no need to say everything 3 different ways. Even leveling has you scrolling through lines and lines of text. That same information was so much simpler in earlier Pokemon games. There was no need to change it. And you can't make the text scroll faster, and you can't skip it. It's madness!
Yeah, I did quite like the mini storylines for the characters, though. All the quests have you and your teammate helping some Pokemon in need, and the bad guys are either captured or everyone learns to get along in the end. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but it's kind of cute. Plus, it's a much better looking game than the previous ones.
Affirmative. Everything is rendered in 3D. However, the view is really zoomed in, so you can't see enemy Pokemon until they're quite close.
Yes, there were a lot of things that frustrated me about this game, and it was just too easy in the end, and it even got easier in the later sections, so I'm gonna give it 4 out of 10 rubber chickens.
It's 5 out of 10 from me.
So, Hex, is my mystery dungeon growing on you?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I especially like that picture of Carrie O'Brien.
Oh, do you like the frame? It's made of solid gold.
I also heard his hair is made of gold.
It's actually a ferro-platinum alloy.
Well, sadly, that brings us to the end of another show, but we shall return next week, of course.
Yes, and Darren, are you going to return the Den of Gaming to its former glory? Because we've got lots of great games to review, and none of them are set in mystery dungeons.
Affirmative. Next week, we'll be looking at Ratchet & Clank for the Vita.
A rumour that you once auditioned for the role of Clank. Is that true?
Maybe.
Oh, Darren, why do you think you didn't get it?
I suspect my performance of Shakespeare's Richard III was probably a bit too highbrow for them. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York.
Yeah, probably not the best audition choice.
You're overqualified for it, really, Darren.
Affirmative.
Yeah.
Well, until next week, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darren out. Now, if you'll just put on your safety helmets, I'll start restoring the Den of Gaming.
Okay,
Charging my demolition laser! Demolishing set! Demolishing set!